sore and a little scratchy, but hopefully you'll still enjoy today's video. Today I was going to go over and trace and talk to you about some of my tattoos and fill you in on any ideas I have for expanding, because ideally I'd end up with 2 full sleeves and I'd sleeve my legs, but that's with time. So I hope you'll enjoy today's video. So let's jump right in. So for my first tattoo I'll show you would be this one on my hand. This starts up at my pointer finger and wraps all the way down. And then from here, it doesn't go into my palm at all. But down here it does wrap around my wrist a little, because we thought that would look really cool. But it is a sore one around the insides of my fingers and around my palm. But the top of my hand didn't hurt too bad. But it did. I feel like it took a little longer to heal than some of my other tattoos. But it is on a spot that moves a lot more, so I'm sure that definitely played a big role in it. But it healed overall really well. There's like slight spots like in this crack between my thumb and my pointer finger. This will have to be touched up a little bit. Maybe a touch on my knuckle, and then in the inside of this finger. This side not too bad, but definitely this side. But unfortunately, I wasn't able to I should have taken a little more time off with it from work, but it was busy season. Really couldn't take more than what I was already taking. But it wasn't too bad. I was able to baby it quite a bit when I did come back, so it is one of my favorites. Also one of my most reasons I get my tattoos. Well, I've had 3 sessions and I've ended up with 7 tattoos. I had one session that I had one bigger tattoo that I'll show you later. Then I had a session with smaller tattoos and a session with more medium-sized, I guess, in comparison to my others. But this was one of them. But it's fun to have, and I feel like a lot of people notice it, even if they don't love tattoos. It always sparks a bit of curiosity, and I think that's kind of fun. But there's this one. Eventually, I'm hoping to put the primogram from Genshin right here on this finger. So that would probably be it on hand tattoos for this hand at least. But I do eventually want to put the primogram right here. But there is my hand. And another one I'm sure you've probably seen is my Zorro swords with a little straw hat charm. But this one was also, this one was at the same time, these two. And this one was actually really fun. This one took about an hour and a half. This one took, well, this one was more 2 hours. This one was like maybe an hour and a half. And then the final tattoo of that session took about 30 minutes. It's also a bit larger compared to some of my other ones, but it's just a lot of black inking, so it wasn't really detail oriented. Not too much line work other than the outside. But I did get the Zorro swords, and what I thought was really cool about these was that we'd been looking, my fiance and I, for ideas because I really wanted some One Piece tattoos. And we were at this point, I was in Thriller Park, I believe. So we just got the new and current swords. So we have like the Kietsu, the Wado, and the Shisui. So we got those on here. And the fun part about this tattoo is that when we had been searching for ideas and references for it, we had found the base of this, but it didn't have the current swords. So I had to kind of take that reference photo and sketch out myself the shape again and draw on the handles on my own. So the handles on here, but they're pretty alright if I do say so myself. The handles on here, although not perfect, I drawn myself. So that added a little fun thing to it that I really enjoyed. But I got to draw all of the handles on the swords. And then we added in the little charm from it because we knew it was One Piece, but I still wanted something that kind of, if you knew One Piece, you'd see it and you'd know. Not just merely you glance at it and it was just 3 swords. I wanted it to have some sort of calling. So we have the little straw hat emblem. So, yeah, that one was really, really fun. And I'm so glad my tattoo artist was cool with having me draw part of it. But it worked out really nice. I got to draw it, send it in to her, and then she went through and straightened anything that was a little crooked, and then we got it tattooed on. But I thought that was really, really fun. But this one is definitely a fun one. It also didn't hurt very bad. But it was very nice. I think eventually I will expand off of this tattoo. I was thinking about putting Zoro's eye right in the center here. And then in kanji getting his name above like this, but for the video it'll be below. But so the next step for this tattoo is definitely getting his eye in the center and then his name in kanji across the top, just so that we can expand even more on it. But as of now, those 2 are the only things on this arm. This arm is the one we plan to sleeve first. So we have a couple ideas in mind, like this open spot right here, we're going to put Levi. So I have a Levi with his ODM gear in here. And then this section, we're still a little back and forth on, but we had a couple ideas with Zuko's eyes or something of similar nature. We wanted this half of my body will be more of an edgier, I guess, darker, edgier feeling. So we wanted to have Levi, of course, and there was Misa and Ryuk, and maybe Elle we'd wanted on this side as well somehow. Either on my, thinking maybe Misa on my arm and Ryuk probably on my leg. Elle, I think, will get his the little L font that he uses when he communicates to the police force and everybody. Who will get that right in the back. But this arm isn't really our first step. We have some ideas saved, but nothing placed quite yet where we'd like it. But this will be our next big tackle once the baby's born and I can get tattoos again. But there's this arm. Trace a little more for you. Keep you updated as we get more tattoos and we heal them. I'll probably make some more installments going over my tattoos. But moving on from this arm, on this one we have 3 tattoos, mostly small sized. But first one is this little dragonfly right here. But this one from a surprise appointment I got called 10 o'clock the morning of by my mother, who the appointment was originally for. But when she was going over more of the details of her tattoo with the artist hadn't felt completely comfortable. She wanted to make sure that it was done exactly how my mom wanted it, and she wanted to go for a more realistic piece, and she just wasn't completely comfortable with doing the subject matter. So, at 10 o'clock that morning, I got a call asking if I'd like to go to the appointment at 1 and get some tattoos, and this was the first piece we did that day. This little dragonfly. Now this one is for my grandmothers. This one I got because one of my grandmothers, I'd spent the summers with her until with my little brother. And then dragonflies are my other grandmother's favorite. She has a tattoo herself of dragonflies with a dragonfly for each of us grandkids. So I thought it was kind of cool getting something that could stand for the both of them. This was what we had come up with. It's very pretty, very dainty. Also, pretty easy one. It didn't hurt too bad. So, this was my first piece that had the dotted shading. And I really, really love that. Because the piece I had gotten before this has dotting in it, in the shading, but it has regular shading and then dots in it as well, which I thought was really cool. I still think it's really cool, but I really liked seeing just the dotting alone. So that's what we did for this little guy. But there's a little dragonfly. And the next one is right here, a little Totoro. It is my only tattoo that has any color in it, although not very much. This tattoo was done at the same time as the dragonfly. And he also has the dotted shading in this bottom corner. But got him up here, his little toes. And a little green in the top of his plant up there. But eventually he will have to be retraced, because all of the work inside, like his little eyes and his little shading, healed wonderfully. But it was during the winter, or the end of winter, early spring, when I got these. So it was still a bit cold, and I had to wear long sleeves all of the time. So he had a bit of a harder time healing, because he'd always had some sort of fabric over. Even with the wrappings and stuff on him, there was still always like friction from whatever I was wearing over top, so he did have a bit of a hard time healing. But I still think he looks really cute, even with the softer line work. I still think it fits. But there's little Totoro, the little white Totoro. And he kind of is what decided the theme for this arm and this side of my body, considering this side was going to be more edgy, so barbed wire, daggers, swords, edgier type characters. And then this side was going to be more like magic and nature-y. So we had like my dragonfly, and then we have little Totoro. But he, I think, is really the one that set the mood for this side of the body. So there he is. Little Totoro. And then the last one on this arm, I'll slide just a little, that way you can see a little better, is face tattoo. I got this one with the two on this hand. And this one took maybe half an hour. It was very fast in comparison to the other ones. Also, I think this was the least painful spot of all of them. But so we have her little tattoo here. I wanted it in the same area as hers, but I didn't want it to be quite exactly like hers. I wanted it to be able to build with it as well. So Nami's, although on the same shoulder, is much bigger than the one I have. Just so that way it wasn't complete. I guess that way it wasn't completely the same. And I would still be able to build around it if I had any that came. So, it was very fun. I really like this. It's very beautiful. The easiest one to heal. It took no time at all. It's just making sure I kept it moist when it needed to be moist and let it breathe when it needed to breathe. But it was very, very fun getting this one. But there she is. My Nami tattoo. But those are pretty much it for the ones I can show you in this segment. My upper body here. And the next two are, one is on my leg and one is on my back, so I won't be able to really trace too much this one for you, but I will still show you and tell you a little bit about it. But, alright. For my last tattoo, this one is actually the first tattoo I ever got. And it is of a Luna moth. It's in memory of my childhood dog. Her name is Luna, and she passed away when I was about 16. So, in memory of her, when I turned 18, I'd gotten this tattoo for her on my birthday. But now this is also the tattoo that has the traditional shading as well as the dot shading with it. So I will turn around to show you a little bit, and I'll try to talk a little more, but I wanted to make sure I gave you a little bit of information beforehand. But here we are. This was not necessarily the hardest of my tattoos, but it was at the same time, because it was the first, so it was getting comfortable with the sensation of getting tattooed. But this piece took about an hour and a half. And was done by an artist who is friends with my uncle. who did all of my uncle's pieces. And so for my first tattoo, I had really wanted to go to him because I knew his work and I was familiar with it. And I actually really liked it. I thought it would be the best for this piece, considering that it had special meaning. But here it is. Now this piece, I was told going in that being on my spine would be the worst. But surprisingly, for me personally, the hardest part of this tattoo was when I got close to my shoulder blades. It was towards the end of the session when we were doing shading that started to hurt. But overall, it wasn't too bad of a piece. It turned out beautifully and I'm very happy with it. But there is my last piece for today. Thank you so much for watching my video and going through my tattoos with me today. As I get more, I'll make sure that I'll keep uploading more tattoo videos. That way you can see my tattoo collection grow as it does. But thank you so much for watching today's video. I hope you enjoyed.